In the beginning, there was nothing. No earth, no sky, no gods, no men. Only the vast emptiness of Ginnungagap, the yawning void that stretched across the cosmos like an open wound in reality itself. To the north lay Niflheim, a realm of ice and endless winter where freezing mist coiled through the darkness. To the south burned Muspelheim, where rivers of fire carved through mountains of flame, and the very air shimmered with unbearable heat. These two realms, ice and fire, light and darkness, existed in perfect opposition until the moment they touched. When the frost of Niflheim met the flames of Muspelheim, something miraculous happened. The ice began to melt, and from those primordial waters emerged the first being, Ymir, the ancestor of all giants, born from chaos itself. Imagine standing at the edge of creation, watching as consciousness forms from nothing but frozen vapor and liquid fire. Ymir was not beautiful. He was massive, terrifying, a creature of pure elemental power, whose very existence defied the emptiness around him. As he slept in that newborn world, he sweated, and from his sweat came more giants, male and female, spawning from his body without any union, without any love. From under his arms grew a male and female, and his legs bred a son with each other. This was how the race of frost giants came into being, children of chaos, creatures who would one day wage war against the very gods themselves. But Ymir was not alone for long. From the melting ice emerged another being, a cow named Audhumla, whose 4 rivers of milk fed the giant and kept him alive. Audhumla herself fed on the salty ice blocks, licking them for sustenance. As she licked, something began to emerge from the ice. First came hair, golden and radiant, then a head. Finally, after 3 days of patient licking, an entire man stepped free from his frozen prison. His name was Buri, and he was beautiful, strong, and powerful. Unlike Ymir, Buri represented order, the first glimpse of divine purpose in a world born from accident and chaos. Buri had a son named Bor, and Bor took a wife from among the giants, a woman named Bestla. From their union came 3 brothers who would change everything: Odin, Vili, and Ve. The brothers grew strong, and they watched Ymir and his giant children multiply across the formless void. The giants were violent, chaotic, and destructive, threatening to consume everything in their endless hunger. The 3 brothers knew what had to be done. In an act that would echo through eternity, they attacked Ymir, the progenitor of all giants. The battle was brief but cataclysmic. The brothers struck Ymir down, driving weapons into his ancient flesh until his blood flowed like oceans. And indeed, that blood did become the oceans. So much blood poured from Ymir's wounds that it drowned nearly all the frost giants. Only 2 survived, Bergelmir and his wife, who escaped in a boat made from a hollowed tree trunk, rowing desperately through the crimson flood that consumed their world. From Ymir's corpse, the brothers created everything. They dragged his massive body to the center of Ginnungagap and began their work of creation. His flesh became the earth, rich and dark and fertile. His blood filled the seas and lakes, still cold from his icy origin. His bones shattered into mountains that touched the sky. His teeth and broken bone fragments scattered to become rocks and stones across the land. They took his skull and raised it high, creating the dome of the sky itself, and they placed 4 dwarves at each corner, north, south, east, and west, to hold the heavens in place forever. His brains they tossed into the air, where they became clouds that drifted across the new sky. Even his eyebrows found purpose, curved into a protective wall around the realm they called Midgard, the Middle Earth, the world of men, though men did not yet exist. The brothers looked at their creation and saw it was good, but it was dark. The sky existed, but there was no light to see by. From Muspelheim they took sparks and embers, the very essence of fire itself, and flung them into the void above. These became the stars, fixed in their positions, giving the first light to the 9 realms. They took the brightest flames and placed them in 2 chariots. The first carried Sol, the sun, pulled by two horses named Arvak and Alsvid. The second carried Mani, the moon, drawn across the sky in an eternal cycle. But these celestial bodies could not travel in peace. Two wolves, born from dark magic and ancient hunger, pursued them endlessly. Skoll chased the sun, always behind, always hunting. Hati pursued the moon with the same relentless hunger. The Norse people believed that eclipses occurred when these wolves drew too close, their jaws snapping at the light itself. And they knew that one day, at the end of all things, these wolves would finally catch their prey. The 9 realms took shape, connected by Yggdrasil, the world tree, an ash tree so massive that its roots and branches held all of existence together. In the highest branches lived the gods in Asgard, their golden halls glittering in the sunlight. Below them stretched Midgard, the realm of humans. Deeper still lay Jotunheim, land of the giants, a place of stone and ice and ancient grudges. Svartalheim, home of the dark elves, existed in shadow. Nidavellir housed the dwarves, master craftsmen who would forge weapons and treasures of immense power. Vanaheim belonged to the Vanir gods, rivals and then allies of the Aesir. Alfheim shimmered with the light of the light elves. Niflheim remained the realm of ice and mist, while Muspelheim burned eternal in its flames. And beneath everything, cold and dark and inevitable, lay Helheim, the realm of the dead, ruled by a goddess born from trickery and betrayal.
But we are getting ahead of ourselves. The world existed now, and it needed inhabitants. Odin and his brothers walked along a beach one day, and they found 2 logs washed up on the shore, weathered by salt and time. One was an ash tree, the other an elm. The brothers saw potential where others would see only driftwood. Odin breathed into the wood, giving them life and spirit. Vili granted them intelligence, movement, and emotion. They gave them the ability to see, hear, and speak. The ash became Ask, the first man. The elm became Embla, the first woman. The brothers placed them in Midgard, protected by Ymir's eyebrow wall, and from these 2 came all of humanity, every warrior, every farmer, every child who would one day look up at the stars and wonder about the gods who made them. The gods established Asgard as their home, building halls of gold and silver that reflected the sun. Odin became the All-Father, chief among the gods, but his wisdom came at a terrible price. He knew that knowledge required sacrifice. One day, he traveled to Mimir's well, which sat beneath one of Yggdrasil's great roots. The water in that well contained all the wisdom of the ages, everything that had been and everything that would be. Mimir, the guardian, was ancient and cunning. He told Odin that such wisdom could not be given freely. It required payment, and that payment must be profound. Without hesitation, Odin plucked out his own eye and dropped it into the well, watching it sink beneath the surface. The pain was excruciating, but it was temporary. The knowledge he gained from drinking those waters would last forever. From that moment on, Odin saw with only one eye, but that eye saw deeper than any 2 eyes ever could. But Odin was not satisfied. He wanted more. He wanted to understand the runes, the magical symbols that held power over reality itself. The runes existed beyond the realm of the living, accessible only through extreme suffering. So Odin did something that terrified even the other gods. He hanged himself from Yggdrasil, piercing his own side with his spear Gungnir. And there he hung for 9 days and 9 nights. No food touched his lips, no water cooled his throat. He hung there, dying slowly, staring down into the void below the world tree. On the 9th day, as his life faded and death reached up to claim him, he saw them. The runes appeared before his fading vision, 18 symbols of immense power. He grasped them, screamed in triumph and agony, and fell from the tree.
reborn through his own sacrifice, now the master of runic magic. I cannot imagine the loneliness of those 9 days. Think about it. The king of gods, hanging from a tree, watching his own life drain away, unable to call for help, unable to end his suffering early, driven by an obsession with knowledge that consumed everything else. When he fell from that tree, he was no longer just Odin. He was something more, something that had touched death and returned, carrying secrets that mortals were never meant to know. The gods were not alone in Asgard. Thor, Odin's son, born from the union with Jord, the earth itself, became the protector of both gods and men. He was massive, with red hair and a red beard, a god whose laughter shook the halls and whose anger could level mountains. Thor wielded Mjolnir, a hammer of such incredible power that no weapon in any realm could match it. But Mjolnir's creation came from trickery and pain, and to understand that, we must talk about Loki.